wanted to start out by just saying thank you, moms and dads. Thanks for taking some time out of your Sunday afternoon. The sun's finally shining. Now I understand it's still pretty cold outside and the wind's blowing pretty good. So thank you for spending some time coming out today to be with us and talk through this season's Spring 44's coach meeting or parent meeting. So really quickly, I just want to do a quick introduction of your board and staff. My name is Coach Rudy. My real name is Brett Henderson, but only my mom calls me that. So if you see me out on the pitch, please come up, introduce yourself, say hey, and you can address me as Rudy. We're now friends, okay? So Coach Rudy or Rudy. Nick, would you introduce yourself?
Nick's
No, you gotta use the mic. You can use the mic.
It doesn't bother me, I'm an auctioneer. Give me a mic, Nick's Bond, the VP of the club.
I'm Eric Gilbert, I'm the technical director. My room, maintenance, and Chris Garlinger, and Tom Pappas is supporting.
And then not here today are two of our female board members and actually our club president, Kelly Hines. Right there's her beautiful face, and then Paige Corbett. Paige, see the mic just went out. Use the mic, he says. I will reflect my voice. Yeah. Come on. All right. Picture there is Kelly Hines. She's actually our new club president as of this winter. She was sworn in as our new club president. And Paige Corbett right here. She does all of our social media and online stuff. So those ladies could be here. And then pictured here also is our past president, Mark Amber. He served as our club president the last 2 years. And he is now in a position with the club called past president as part of our leadership team. So I think we're all pretty friendly people. Please, like I said, if you see any of us around, if we don't initiate a conversation with you, say hey to us. We'd love to have a conversation. So again, I just want to say thank you to all of you, not just for being here today, but for choosing to be a part of this organization. We're a soccer club, plain and simple, but more than that, something we've really spent the last 2 years focusing on is we're a family, we're a community. We really have tried to build that rapport within our community. Our kids are all invested. A lot of our coaches are invested. You as a parent, you're invested. And we really want it to feel like you guys are part of something more than just a soccer team, okay? The kids are gonna come out here and have a lot of fun, but we wanna make sure you all feel welcomed and you guys all feel like you're enjoying yourselves as well, okay? I want to say thank you to all of our sponsors. A lot of them are listed up there on the board. In the last year, we've brought on some major sponsorships by way of Indy 11. We partnered with them, Coca-Cola, SoagilitySoccer.com. So big turnaround in the last couple of years, and we got to thank a lot of these corporate partners of ours for that financial that they've provided us. Now, all that said, if you are a member of the club and you have a small business, we would love for you to be a part of that. We want to make sure we're giving all of you small business members, leaders in our club an opportunity. I just sent out, or Tom sent an email out yesterday. We want to make sure if you want to be a part of the club something more, that you get that opportunity. And that, what we do is we go so far as to make sure that we have marketing, branding of yours. We put your information up on our club website. You'll see we have signage all over the facility displaying your brand, your logo. And if you provide a service, we're going to make sure that we market that service to our club so that we can try to earn you some of that business. Just yesterday, we put out an email. We had some rodents, some moles make their way onto some of our fields. So we're trying to take care of that. And so the first place we reached out to was to see if anybody within the club has any experience with that, because we'd like to hire you on if you know what you're doing. So just keep that in mind. If you ever have something that you feel like you can give back to the club, whatever means time, resources, we would love to hear from you about that, okay? Key dates. So if you have your cell phones, you may want to take a picture of this. This will be available on our website, or you can write it down if you want, but we want you to make sure that you're aware of some of the most important things going on this season. So the first week of practices will start the week of April 8th. If your son or daughter ends up being on a team that practices on Monday, The fields will be open, and we've told coaches they're welcome at that point to reach out to those families and say, yes, we would like to hold a practice this day. But technically, because Noblesville schools added that Monday, April 8th as like a 11th spring break day, it won't be required. If kids want to show up to the fields in a non-mandatory manner that night for practice, coaches have been told they have the option to hold a non-mandatory practice that night. Otherwise, if your son or daughter is on a team that practices Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, practices will begin the week of April 8th, with first matches beginning the weekend of April 12th and the 13th. Okay? April 26th to the 22nd to the 26th will be Team Picture Week. Whatever night your son or daughter practices on will very likely be the night that their team pulled their pictures. 10th Street Photography is our official club sponsor photographer. They come in that day, they do individual photos, they do team photos, and they're located right here in Noblesville. So if you don't like something, Lori's fantastic to work with. She'll work with you. She even does home delivery if something needs to be fixed. Right. May 12th, April 22nd, or 27th is NUSC night and Indy 11. So we last season signed a major partnership deal with Indy 11, our professional soccer organization here in Indianapolis. On that night will be our night as a club that all of our families will get to go down and be recognized as part of that partnership. If you weren't aware already, because we have that partnership with them, every son or daughter you have playing in our club automatically gets 2 free tickets to an Indy 11 game in any match this season, any home match. So you will get information about that from us as we get closer to the season. But we also have discounted ticket rates for members of our family, and you'll get a code that will allow you to purchase X number of tickets, whatever you need at a discounted rate. But that particular night, because of our partnership, we're also going to have a fun on-field experience pre-match. Anybody that's part of the Noblesville United Soccer Club will be able to go down to the Indy 11 game, and before the match starts, we'll have 60 minutes of pre-match mini games. So all of your kids can go onto the field, play soccer, goof around, have fun, and then they have to come off as they prepare for the professional match, and then we hang out for the rest of the night and watch the game. They do have concessions down there, and that night also happens to be family night. So their kids zone will have a whole section of inflatables and things for kids to do outside of just what opportunities being a part of the partnership presents them. May 12th, that weekend, we will have games on Saturday the 11th, but no games on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 12th. Moms, thank you. We love you. Dads, you're welcome for the reminder. May 22nd to the 25th will be our rec tourney. That is the weekend going into Memorial Weekend. The rec tournament will start Wednesday night the 22nd, Thursday night the 23rd, Friday night the 24th, Saturday the 25th. We're going to try to wrap all activities up by noonish because that is the Memorial Weekend, and we want families to have Saturday evening, Sunday, Monday off to do whatever plans they might have. While we're on this topic, I just want to make sure everybody understands why we have to do it that weekend. I get so many emails like, Rudy, why do we do a tournament on Memorial Weekend? So if you're not aware, our club has grown immensely over the last couple of years. We have 2 programs we offer, which I'll talk about. Our Rec program and our Rec Plus program, which is our Academy program. So we essentially have 2 divisions of soccer, Rec for fun and Academy for the advanced players. Between the 2 programs, and our registration doesn't close till midnight tonight, but we're going to have something with our partnership. We alone, where are we at right now, registration? 1,042 kids just in our program, right? And we have Sheridan and Tipton. We partner with Indy Premier. So we have, we'll say, just rough math here, we have roughly 700 kids that are part of our rec program. So it takes us as a board and staff a whole week to prepare, make sure we have referees, everything that's necessary, stock the concession stand, everything that needs to be done to run a successful tournament. And we have to do it separate from the week that we have the academy because we don't have enough fields. Even if we took all of the referees that are available around, we wouldn't have enough referees. Parents have to be considered who have sons and daughters that play in both divisions. We don't want you to have to be at your son's U8 rec game at 9 o'clock, and then if your son's in an Academy 12 league game, drive out to McCordsville, right, within 30 minutes of your 8-year-old son's match getting over. So we do those, the different divisions, we do their matches on tournaments on separate weekends because otherwise we just wouldn't be able to get it all done. So I just want to make sure, in case you hear chatter like, why do we do a tournament going into the holiday weekend? We have no other choice. If we're going to get 6 weeks of regular season in the academy trainings, and get a whole rec tournament in, and then still get the academy tournament in, which, by the way, I'll remind you, our academy players, they actually play into the first weekend of the summer. So those kids' tournament doesn't get over till June 2nd. So those families, our Rec families miss out on a half a day of the Memorial Day weekend. Our Rec Plus families miss out on their first 2 days of summer because that's when their tournaments. So May 25th, that weekend is our Rec tourney. May 28th through the 30th is our high school age group. That's when their tournament will be going on. In having conversations with our partners at IP, high schoolers have a lot going on, right? It's right at the end of the school year, they've got graduation parties, they're graduating, and it's the same for both clubs, us and Indy Premier. And with everything those age group kids have going on the weekends, it made the most sense. Those kids were most available to play during the midweek. So the high school age group, their tournament's actually a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so they can be free and have enough players to roster teams. And then May 31st through June 2nd are our academy tournament games, and that's for any child who's in academy U10 through high school. June 17th through the 20th is our Indy 11 Youth Summer Camp. So we held 2 camps last year. Our youth, and I'll just call it our For Fun Camp. That's the one that's there in June. That registration is available on our website. It's on Indy 11's website. You can go to either to sign up for it. It's a 4-day camp from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And it's really fun. The June camp is really, really fun. Last summer, both camps had over 100 kids participate in them. They bring players down, they bring their mascot down for one of the days. And they just make those experiences really fun for the kids. And then the camp in July is the Indy 11 Elite Camp. So that will be a camp geared more towards our academy players with higher skill. So we wanted to make sure both our Rec and our Rec Plus kids had an opportunity at each one of these camps. The one will be soccer focused but more fun. The Elite Camp will be fun but a lot of hard work. You're learning advanced techniques, advanced tactical and technical stuff. If you haven't visited our website, we did a complete rebuild last year of our website, and on our events page of our website, we've integrated our Google Calendar. So if you guys want to check out our website, go to noblesvilleunited.com, click on the little hamburger symbol up in the top right, click on events. Our calendar for the entire season will display with all of our key dates, picture days, tournament days, everything you guys want to know, picture days, anything we got going on currently scheduled through calendars here is on our website right now. And if you expand on the piece of information that's displayed, it'll give you a little blurb. So there'll be registration links, times, dates, costs, anything that's applicable to the information you're looking at. Couple admin items. As parents, I want to make sure that you're aware of all of the different software that the club uses. Probably the most important will be TeamSnap. Within a couple weeks here, you're going to get an email invitation to join your son or daughter's team on TeamSnap. That's the primary mobile software app that we use as a club for rostering, scheduling. Our coaches will use it to communicate with you, send messages. You'll have group chats, team chats, threads. Everything you'll need to know or communicate with your son or daughter's team will be via that application on your mobile. So make sure you have the TeamSnap app installed. And if you don't, when you get the email, there'll be a big button that says accept league invite. So when you click that, it'll make you install the TeamSnap app if you haven't already. We also use software like we have Google. If you haven't given us a Google review, and if you want to wait till the end of the season to do that, based on your experience, we absolutely want to hear back from you guys. We really want to make this the best soccer club, recreational soccer club in the state of Indiana. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is to make sure if we're doing something wrong, is for you guys to let us know so we can fix it. Okay? We're good with criticism because it's going to make us better. So if you have something encouraging to say, please let us know. If you have something that you think we need to do better, please let us know. Please also, if you don't already, follow us on social media. Twitter, Insta, Facebook. We're trying to get tons and tons of followers, and I know Paige is doing a giveaway. I don't remember what those numbers are off the top of my head, but if you go in and you end up being like, let's say the 1,000th Insta follower that we have, we're going to give you something back, whether it be swag or maybe a discount off your child's soccer registration. We're trying to build up our social media presence. Actually, Chris, I left this heat map in here. If you want to speak to this really quickly, because I want you parents to know, I let you guys know the numbers. Our club is just continuing to grow exponentially. We've had successive season after season, year after year growth in the teens. We started when most of us took over as leadership. Our registration numbers about 2.5 years ago, we'll say, was like between 700 and 800 kids. And we're going to be over 1,200 now. And we have 500 parking spaces. So we're going to spread the days out, okay, to make sure we can get everybody in and out in a healthy way, without too many horns being honked and without too many millipedes growing within the parking lot. But Chris, you want to talk about this real quick?
Yeah, this is me geeking out right here. So with the traffic, as bad as it used to be, the green kind of represents game time, and then I tried to put a little bit of yellow in there, which is warm up, and then meeting the team afterwards. The red is when I'm trying to project traffic flow. So the SOA behind this is you've got a geek that's really trying to make sure that the flow goes. So give us honest feedback on it. I tweaked it a little bit for the fall season. It seemed like it worked a little bit better. But if you guys identify things, probably going to regret doing this. Chris at NoblesvilleUnited.com. Let me know how the traffic goes.
El tráfico.
Busiest time? I try to not be busy time.
Well, so you're gonna find us busy around between 10 and like 2. So definitely plan to get there early. If you think you're gonna roll to your game at 10 a.m. at 9:58, forget it. You're gonna roll to your game, go weave the parking lot, back up in the very back corner and walk to your game. It's gonna take you 4 or 5 more minutes to get there. So make sure you give enough time. We'd love to see you get there at least 20, 25 minutes early. That's kind of a go-to for every soccer club, whoever existed, to get there with enough time and visit the concession stand.
Yeah, so if you've not visited our facility, if you're a new family to our club, we have 20 fields with U6 all the way through high school. And the high school, they play full side level 11. Our facility is pretty big. So like they were saying, if you end up getting one of the furthest away parking spots and you playing on field 1, you need to give yourself a good 5 to 10 minutes to walk from your spot to the field, right? So the point is, plan ahead. Make sure you give yourself plenty of time to get to your child's game on time. We've all been there running late, and it happens, but let's try not to place that anxiety on the kids so that they're running up and the match is starting and kicking off and they're starting on the bench because they weren't there on time. So just do everything you can to make sure you get them on time. So just a couple seasons ago, when the leadership kind of took over and put ourselves in this position to just make this the best club we can make it to be, one of the questions I wanted to make sure that I asked myself, and that I'm going to ask each one of you to do, is to ask yourself, why are we here? Why are we doing this? To play soccer? Yeah. But what's our why? Like, why are we really here? So, Caden, can I call on you for a second, buddy? Is that okay? I just met you. You don't even barely know me. But I was just talking to Caden. Caden loves soccer. He's part of my why. Just met him. I love you, dude. Okay? He's my why. You guys are my why. Your kids are my why. All 3 of my kids are here. I coach them. I love being a part of this club. We want you guys to love being a part of this club. Okay? I care about your kids like they're my own, and if I'm lucky enough to coach them, I'll remind them of that. And let's be mindful of that. There are 90 minutes practice, there's 60 minutes a match in a week, could be the best part of their week. That could be all they have to look forward to. So what are we as parents going to make sure that we do to make sure that's the best 60 to 90 minutes a week they get, right? So I encourage you guys, every once in a while, reassess your situation and ask yourself why. Why am I driving to Noblesville United right now? That's all I ask. So, as a part of the club and reestablishing our why, we did want to come up with what we refer to as our core values. This is something we just had our coaches meeting. We spoke with them. We want to make sure that as parents, as coaches, as leaders, as adults, that we're instilling these 5 principles, these 4 values into our young men and women so that years from now, they can be the next group of leaders, whether that be at our club or at their school or in our community. They understand the importance of community, right? So each week, hopefully, the coaches take note and they're saying, hey kids, what do you know about community? Or hey kids, what do you know about respect? What does respect mean to you? Or integrity. And I use this example all the time, and my daughter, I don't know where she went, she's a goalkeeper. And I tell her all the time, sis, 1-1 championship game, the referee doesn't see a call. The ball crosses the line. If they ask you, did that ball cross the line, what are you going to say? Yes, it crossed the line. We may lose the game, but big picture here, try to teach her to do the right thing and have some integrity, because it may stink right now, losing that match 2-1, that championship match, but big picture, I care more about instilling that value in her, so in 10, 15 years from now, right, she's prepared herself for real life, which we're all experiencing, right? And she's gonna have to be truthful and honest, and she'll be prepared for moments like that. So integrity. So you'll see signs around the club that have our core values listed on them. I'd encourage you as parents every once in a while, just have the conversation with your kid. Going to the fields, leaving the fields. Hey, what does leadership mean to you? Right? Talk about those things with your kids. I hit on this earlier, but I wanted to make sure, especially for all of our new families, our club does offer multiple levels of soccer. We have our recreational soccer, which is the majority of our club. These are young men and women that are new to soccer. They're just looking to have fun in the spring. Soccer's intriguing to them, and they just want to come out, have fun, and learn about it. Then we have our Rec Plus, which we also refer to as Academy, which is a higher level of soccer. These young men and women are, through the course of the season, they're identified by their rec coaches and say, hey, this young man or this young woman is special. They're not getting enough of a challenge here, and it's their job to make sure they let the commissioners know, the leadership of the club know, and the parents of that young man or young woman know, like, hey, they should probably finish this season out with us, but maybe at the end of the year, come tournament time, if there's a spot open, or next season, they should be considered for Academy and come to one of our evaluations, because you will find it really sometimes at the rec level especially, it takes that one young man or young woman that can change the entire outcome of not just the match, but in the whole season. You get one kid who through his or her parents' lens, oh yeah, he's never played soccer, and then all of a sudden he's scoring like 17 goals a game, or she's scoring like 17 goals a game, right? We want to make sure those kids are identified early, and they're playing in the next level up that we offer to continue to challenge them. So just something as a parent, when you're at your kids' matches, is it something that you've identified that this is just a spring thing for them? I can tell they're having fun. They're not really like 100% into it yet. Tommy's told me next spring he wants to try baseball. Rec soccer's for them. Perfect. But if your son or daughter wants something more, considering, taking that next step with them and then playing on another level up. So speaking of Rec Plus evaluations, we just had some of those last weekend. And these are just some of the photos. So we have a partnership with Sogility, which I don't know if you guys are familiar, but it's a company over in Westfield, just off of US 31 there. They are a technology-based soccer firm that has all kinds of, that's kind of where we're going, right? The world's kind of going AI, technology, all that stuff. So they have all of these offerings that we don't at the club. If there's kids that want to supplement the trainings they receive with us, they have the opportunity to go there and play in matches, to play in tournaments, use the technology available there at the club. And that's where we hold all of our evaluations. To get those kids that want that next experience, the exposure to some of this stuff, but then also to have them come out so that when we're looking at these kids and we identify and say, oh yeah, he's really good, he can play on this academy team, or she can play on that academy team, and then it also helps us to make sure that we balance our rosters, okay? So this is just some of the pictures of some of our coaches, and I just saw this the other day, but I noticed right there, Coach Eric, he photobombed this picture of the U12 boys at the academy, and I chuckled at that. It sounds silly, but it made me laugh.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I did put it on that one, didn't I?
So this is something I'm kind of proud of. So this is a new program we're going to start next season in the fall. Little Rappies, coming fall 24. It's a program where your sons or daughters who are 3 to 5 years old, who maybe aren't ready for that structured soccer week just yet, but still want to get engaged and start playing soccer, this will be the program that we're going to offer for them. I can't tell you, just in the last 2 years since I've been in leadership, how many families I've had to turn away because we don't have a program for 3 and 4-year-olds, right? And these are kids that just want to get out with a soccer ball and have fun and giggle and, you know, trip over each other's feet, just have a good time. So we're going to start that program next fall. It's going to be a 6-week program. It'll be $90. It'll be Monday evenings. It'll be a 50-minute session each week. The first 30 minutes is just going to be them, you know, learning things like social skills, motor function, things like that, just having fun, playing like games. And then the last 20 minutes will be them actually playing a small match of soccer with the assistant of their parents and their coaches on the field. That will be led by staff at the club and our junior coaches, which I'll talk more about our junior coaches later in the program. But I just wanted to put that out there to the club because I've had so many families, like I said, say your kid needs to be at least, you know, 4 years, 8 months old. And in some instances, I'll do an evaluation and say, that's really big, 4.5-year-old. Yes, they're ready to play, right? Coaching program. So for those of you who aren't aware or have maybe considered coaching, but you're on the fence, we have a coaching program that we offer where you'll feel the love, okay? We try to do everything we can to invest in our coaches so that it's not like, hey, you want to be a 6-year-old coach with a bunch of little girls and just, you know, or a bunch of little boys that are just going to drive you crazy? Well, that happens, but we learn to make it fun and we have compensation for that. So we have various coaching tiers. So just by signing up to coach and completing your background check, completing your heads-up concussion course, completing your safe sport course, we're going to reimburse you $25 on your child's registration. Just basically for signing up and taking the courses that are required by the state for you to complete. Okay? Then if you do something beyond that, like an extracurricular event, whether that be come to a work day, come to a coaches meeting for our coaches, we're going to give you another $25 on top of that. So now you're at $50 reimbursed towards your child's registration fee. Then beyond that, if you want to get a more advanced coaching license, we're going to not only pay for you to take that class, because we're investing. We want to make sure you as parents understand that we're investing money and time by paying for them to take professional level courses to get the licenses they need, so you as parents realize like, oh, okay, so my kid, even though this is a first-year coach who's never played, the club is doing everything they can to make sure these coaches know what they're doing, at least structurally, right? So we will pay for you to take the course, and then we'll reimburse you money for taking the course. If you want to go even further beyond that, because you know your kid is going to continue to play through the program all the way through high school at the academy level, we are willing to pay for coaches to get their D licenses, which is like that first level of full professional coaching. And then if you want to go beyond that, like you're thinking, I want to go with my kid, someday they're going to go travel and I want to be a part of that too, we'll pay for you to get your C license.
No,
now,
that's
the D license, sorry. So we're providing opportunities for our coaches. Just wanted to make sure you were aware. And then if you're an academy coach, those trainings occur weekly. Tuesdays are the 10s and 12s. Wednesdays are the 14s, 15s, and the high schoolers. If you're an academy coach and you come to those academy trainings, if you make at least 80% of those, you'll get reimbursement back for that as well. All that to say, if you are a coach and you spend time investing into the program and the kids that you're coaching, you have the opportunity to earn up to $150 on your child's registration back, or up to $175 if they're an academy player. Okay, so we just wanted to make that clear. If anybody's on the fence, there's a lot of opportunity to be a coach, and you're not just doing it for free. We also have a junior coaches program that we just started, and Coach Eric's daughter Ellie is actually going to be one of those. She's a high school player, so that's us looking for high school level players at the club. We've got some contacts at Noblesville High School, which they're pretty okay at soccer, if you hadn't heard. We've got some communication going with Coach Delinsky and the coaches there, where we want to get their players invested in our club. Because I'll be honest with you, my son Sam, his hero right now, other than Holland, is the high school boys varsity soccer team, and Sam Holland in particular. So if we can get those players to buy in and come over and help us out, it would mean the world to our kids. And with that said, I don't know if you guys realize this, but a lot of these kids that are going on to high-level soccer, professional soccer, collegiate-level soccer, most of them started at Noblesville United, right? Who was the young man that played for Butler, just got drafted? Tyler Alt.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so he started at Noblesville United and then moved on to travel and then
He's
he
got
started.
the second round of illness.
Yeah, he just finished his second. So if you haven't, if you've lived around Noblesville for at least the last couple of years, you understand that Hamilton County in particular is a hotbed for youth soccer. Our high schools have won 3 of the last 4 state championships at the highest level on the boys and girls side. It's just, we try to start them here and develop them and then, send them on their way, whether that be IFA or, the high school level, or if they stick around, because we've got kids. Coach Eric's had a couple of young ladies. I've had a couple of young ladies that have come through our ranks and played at Noblesville United over time, and now they're playing for the high school teams. So it's possible. Don't be sold on the stigma of my kid has to play travel soccer or they don't have a chance. I'll just say that. You get a good coach, you have a kid that's willing to put the time in outside of whatever trainings, practices we're offering, whether it be agility, whether it be at home, which is where they're going to get their most growth. Don't let people try to sell you on, you got to pay $3,000 for your kid to play low-level travel soccer to have an opportunity to make the high school team. It's just not the case. We've placed several young ladies in particular on the high school teams in the last couple seasons. So just putting that out there. We have a referee program. The standards, if you want your son or daughter to be a referee, they have to be at least 12 years of age. To be a small-sided referee, which is the 7 versus 7 or the 9 versus 9 fields. We've hosted several referee classes at our facility over the last 2 years. And rough math, the last 2 years,
250, 300.
about 250 to 300 referees have been certified through our club over the last 2 years for the state of Indiana. So we have a fantastic youth referee program, and I'll talk a little bit more about what we do to support. But if your son or daughter loves soccer, is considering and maybe wants to be a referee and actually make really good money, our lowest rates are like $20, $25 a match, right? My daughter will come out, Eric, all of our kids will ref. My daughter will come out and 4 matches in a day and walk away with like over $100, right? For a 12, 13-year-old kid, that's good money, right? And if you're a parent who maybe doesn't want to get too engaged in refereeing, but you want to get your Guardians of the Game certification, Indiana Soccer's, it's an online course that takes like 30 minutes. So in the event, let's say the AR schedule for your kid's match gets sick and can't play anymore, if you have your Guardians license, you can step into the match and be one of the assistant referees on the sideline.
But you don't get paid.
But you don't get paid. I'll tell you what, I'll try to convince Nick to give you a Dr. Pepper and a popcorn at the concession stand. So expounding a little bit on our referee program, a couple of years ago, we came up with basically a zero tolerance policy. We're all parents. We've been to many a sporting event, I'm sure. And who's usually the worst? Be honest. Those are 5 words, brother. We'll just say parents, right? Right? Coaches can be obnoxious, right? But typically, stuff starts going on the field, right? Mom over here, dad over here, everybody starts chirping, and where does it lead to? Onto the field, right? And now you've got so-and-so that's like, I can't wait for that player to get the ball, I'm gonna foul him so hard, we're not getting the calls, right? Or this referee is terrible, right? Well, mind you, some of these kids are really young referees, they're good referees, and by the way, none of us are perfect, right? Anybody? They're gonna make mistakes, but they're gonna learn from them. So just this policy has been enacted to make sure that we as parents are in fact that we're grown-ups. We're not yelling at these kids that may miss a call. We have to show them the utmost respect. And part of this tolerance policy, the zero tolerance policy, basically says you as families and members of this club have signed off on this. And if we deem anybody as being disrespectful to a referee verbally or saying or doing anything, immediate expulsion from the property. We have a zero tolerance policy. I don't kid it. If that young man or woman just gave the other team the game and it was super blatant, we will deal with that, right? But what we don't want to have to do is explain to your son or daughter why, you may or may not have just dropped 3 F-bombs because your kid lost a U10 soccer match, right? We just can't be those people. We have to be the bigger people. Hold it in, internalize it. Tell your son or daughter to wait outside the car for a few minutes so you can get it out, and then let's just move on. And let us know, and we'll deal with the situation if it presents itself. Expounding more on this referee program, so last year we hired what we call a RAM, it's our referee assigner mentor. So all of these referees that we have on the field doing these matches, they have someone that's coming around, watching their matches, giving them constructive criticism, giving them feedback, doing field match reports, so they understand what they may have done wrong, what they did really well, right? Because we want them to continue to improve and do well. So this gentleman, Andrew Gagnon, he's a great kid. He's a senior in college. He's been playing high-level soccer, roughly high-level soccer for a long time. He knows what he's doing. These kids look up to him. They appreciate and respect him. So even if you have an issue with the ref, he might be good someone you'll see walking around the facility and say, hey, Andrew, you know, I took a particular issue with this, and, you know, I feel like maybe so-and-so needs to understand offsides rule a little better, and let us work with that referee. You know, imagine if it's your son or daughter, this is their first job, they love soccer, and you get, you know, dad over here that's just going off on her or him because he missed a call. Like, how, as a parent, if somebody was yelling at your kid like that, how would you feel? Right? My daughter refs, and every once in a while I'll go out and I try to tell her, hey, you need to work on this or work on that, and she'll tell me, shut up, dad. Right? But at least if she's hearing it from me or an adult, right, she's processing it, she's thinking about it, she's wanting to do better. But you know, you just don't want to put yourself in a situation where you can't finish watching your son or daughter's soccer match. Okay. New this year is our commissioner program. So your coaches will be getting information soon, and you will be made aware of it. Every age group and division within our club. We're to the point now where we've gotten so large that we need kind of an overlay between myself and leadership with all of our coaches and all of our families. So this new program we've started, the commissioner program, every age group and division, so girls 6, boys 8, boys 10, they're all going to have a commissioner assigned to their group where they will primarily focus on that age group, those rosters, those schedules, getting to know those families, getting to know those players, so that as we continue to grow and progress, the commissioner of said division knows all of you, you know who they are, you'll be able to reach out, ask questions, and just make this club better. Because through season end surveys, the things we discuss, one of the biggest things, complaint, if you will, is roster balancing. Now, we've put things in place over the last couple seasons that have definitely made improvements, right? But if you get one kid on a team that his parents registered him or her, and like they're just average as far as we're concerned, and then they go out there and they're scoring like just a ton of goals a game and completely changing the outcome of the match. You know, those are things we're working to improve so that we can get that kid into a higher level of soccer, but also make sure that that doesn't happen from the get-go. So before I go any further, I know there's at least one. Hey, the commissioners of our programs, if you're here, can you stand up, Stephen? You're here, stand up, Stephen. Okay, so Stephen's one of our commissioners right now, but there are several more. Stephen, Mia, Sarah, Jason, they were all most all of them here in the coaches meeting. You'll get to know their names, their faces, so that as the season progresses, as we continue to grow, we have these people in place that are going to help make the club even better. So these next 3 slides talk about the overview of the program, what we expect out of commissioners. This next slide here talks about their responsibilities, what we expect them to be able to do, rostering, handle, you know, upset parents, what have you. Work with the board members, right? We're not going to just throw them out on an island and say, you deal with it. They'll each be working with board members as like a partner. And then the last thing here is just kind of what we're doing to reimburse these commissioners. So if you decide you want to be a commissioner for our soccer program, what we're going to do is, one, make sure your son or daughter, or if you don't have a kid, we're going to make sure you're taken care of. So Steven's son, Anakin, is going to play soccer for free this season because Steven stepped up and said, I'm going to be a commissioner. So that's one. If you don't have any kids in the program, but you play adult league soccer, we'll let you play adult league season for free. If you don't want to do any of those things, we can offer you swag. Or if out of the kindness of your heart you say, forget the reimbursement, Rudy, you guys keep the money, I don't need it, we'll do that too. You'll also get a swag. So all of our commissioners are going to get a really cool Adidas polo with commissioner embroidered on the chest. They're going to get a hat. And then most importantly, you're going to stay on my good side. So If you are interested in being a commissioner for the club, we will have opportunities, especially going into the next season. So just something to keep in the back of your mind, but definitely reach out if you have more questions or want to talk about it. Myself, somebody else on the leadership team, the board, or even one of the other commissioners, I'd love to bring you in and just have a conversation. Okay? So community service, this is a really big deal to me. Our community, I really want us to focus on what we can do to make not just our soccer club better, but Noblesville better. So one of our core values is in fact community. So what we're going to be doing this season, and we've done this the last spring, our first community service event this season will be, here's some photos. So we had field day yesterday. So we had a bunch of families come out and help us get the field ready. That's what these folks are for. So this is one of those things. If you guys get one of our emails and say, oh, this is going on, field days going on in Noblesville, if you show up, this is one of those extracurricular events where you get the $25 volunteer fee back that you opt into with the club when you register. But if you were to come to this event and work 2 hours, we reimburse you that $25. It's just a way for us to say, we want the community, we want our families to get engaged. And so you come to these things, you do a little work, you get to meet other families in the club, and then just for showing up, we're giving you $25 back on your registration. So this spring, we did it last spring, we partnered with feedingteam.org, which is a food pantry shelter here in Noblesville. We're going to ask coaches to send out an email, and I'll send a communication about this, but basically, we want to have a competition to see which team can bring in the most canned food or dry goods to the club. The winning team will get a fun event planned out and paid for by the club. So last spring, the Boise Bay Toros, they brought in almost 300 canned goods and dry foods. There's 8 boys on that team, and between them and their families, they brought in almost 300 canned goods and items. So that team, we basically took all of them over to Bowl 32. They had a bowling party, a pizza party, cupcakes. They got to play laser tag. They got to play mini golf, and we gave them like an hour in the arcade, and the club paid for all of it. I showed up, played a little bit of laser tag. I got owned. These kids these days with these video games and things, it's incredible. It's not like when we would play like Nintendo and stuff. They're so good at stuff. So you'll hear more information about this, but we want to inspire families to do everything they can for our community. And stocking our shelter, our food pantry here in Noblesville is one of the things we do in the spring season to make sure that our community feels the love. So if there's anything that you feel like we've talked about to this point, whether it be if you want to work as a commissioner, if you're someone that's good at fixing things, you want to be a part of the facilities crew and help out at the facility, if you want to be a coach, if you want to volunteer your time in concessions. So concession sign up has been built. I built that out. And I'm going to be sending, or Nick will be sending an email to the whole club soon. Once we have the schedule made, we send an email out to everyone in the club for a sign-up genius sheet. And we ask if you want to earn $25 of your registration back, that you dedicate 2 hours to our concession stand and service. So you'll be able to sign up for any date and time that you want, so long as those slots are available. So look for that email. But those are just some of the opportunities we'll continue to provide our families who want to earn a little bit of their registration fees back. And then community outreach. So I know Paige, who does our social stuff, she is looking for someone. So in addition to all of our social media, we kind of started this conversation last season and we want to move forward with it. So we get a lot of families that come to Noblesville and they realize, we like soccer, but it's not really our thing. So now what do we do with all these kids that we just bought? So we're going to start a swap program, and Paige is going to want help with that. So we'll have kind of like a Noblesville United Facebook marketplace thing, where if you decide you want to exit the program, but you want to leave the kids with us, we'll have that swap for families within the club to, your kid outgrows a certain size, well now this one's available online and you don't have to go buy a brand new kit for your kid if you don't want to. So if you're good with social media and that type of stuff and you'd be interested in helping the club out that way, we'd love to have you. New partnerships. So again, I mentioned this earlier in conversation, but if anybody has a small business or a big business and they want to be a part of what the club is doing, There's also kickback we can provide you by ways of marketing and things of that nature. So if you feel like that your business might be a good fit, or you just want to give something to the club, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear what you have to offer. So what's next? So registration closes tonight at midnight. We may have late stragglers in, but we'll filter them as we get them. So here's the plan. We'll close registration tonight at midnight. We will export all of the data, the player data. We're going to go through it as a leadership. We're going to begin sending all of that player data to our club commissioners, and they are going to begin working on rosters as soon as we send them that information. We've asked them to have that all back to us. What was the date I said?
March 20th.
March 20th. So we've asked them to have rosters put back together and all of that back to us by March 20th, so that we can go through all of that, make sure everything looks good, and we can start getting team assignments out to our families by the weekend of like the 24th. That'll give us 2 to 3 to 4 days to kind of go through everything, sign off on it, and then still get you guys those invites to your son or daughter's teams with all of spring break then to just kind of relax, understand that, oh, I know who I'm with, where I'm going to be at, and then just expect when you come back from spring break, practices will start up right away the week of April 11th. So we'll start our rosters right away. We plan to have everything back by the 20th. We plan to get it out by the 24th-ish, so that you guys will know what team and practice nights and all that information for your kids. Sound good? Good. Okay, so this is an opportunity to have Q&A, because there may be a lot of questions, or it may not be, and that's okay too. But also, while we're doing this, we're just gonna, did everybody get their raffle tickets when you came in? Did anybody not get a raffle ticket? If you didn't, will you do me a favor and raise your hand? Camille, will you mind getting those people raffles things? So while we're doing that, does anybody have a question about anything we discussed, or maybe we forgot, didn't discuss? Oh, yes.
Are games through the week or just on the weekend?
Good question. So the question was, are games through the week or just on the weekend? So all of our matches will initially be scheduled for the weekends. Saturdays primarily, but do anticipate that your son or daughter may sometimes play a Sunday afternoon game. Now, we don't typically start Sunday afternoon games until at least 1 p.m. So families have an opportunity to spend Sunday mornings at church and worship together if they so choose. But most games will be Saturdays at any point throughout the day, not late at night. We'll start at like 9 a.m., try to wrap up around 3 or 4, and then Sunday afternoon. Now, I will say this, spring season in particular is tough with the weather, right? So there's got to be a lot of flexibility with scheduling, and we only have so many weeks to get so many games in. So if your son or daughter's games get rained out, we try to reschedule them as quickly as possible, and sometimes that is during the week. But we ask, especially if it's our lower age groups, our U6s, our U8s, that those coaches work together and maybe try to reschedule a match during a practice that week. So the families are already going to be there Wednesday at 6. Let's just have the match Wednesday at 6, since families are already going to be there for the practice anyway. So we do our best to make sure it's Saturdays, Sunday afternoons, but especially with spring weather, you can anticipate a midweek game potentially.
What about that time?
Yeah, that was the beginning of key days. Yeah. So yeah. Yes, ma'am. Good question. So we play outdoor, natural grass. I would recommend soccer cleats, and I emphasize soccer cleats. Soccer cleats are unique, and they don't have what's called a toe spike, or a spike right on the front of the foot, like a baseball cleat or a football cleat has. You can't have those and play soccer because of the risk it involves with that cleat right in the front of the toe. So just make sure if you're buying soccer cleats, or cleats, that you're buying soccer cleats and not baseball or football. You don't have to, but I would recommend it, because if you were to buy tennis shoes or even turf shoes outdoor, especially in the spring when the grass gets wet, it's very easily to slip and fall with the wet grass. But good question. Yes?
Yeah, if you're considering coaching, do you guys do anything to balance a parent not missing like there's a game? something like that?
Yeah, so when the rostering, the question was, if you consider coaching, do you work with coaches to make sure they're not missing their other kids' game? And yes, we do. So I coach 3 teams, and my 2 older kids play in the academy. So most of my games, or at least half my games, are away in any premier facilities. Sometimes they're at our club. But then my youngest daughter's an 8, and I'm her team's coach too. So what we'll do is, we'll build the rec schedule, right? And then we get the rec plus schedule, which Indy Premier builds. They take on that component, we take on the rec stuff. And then we evaluate that. We send it to our coaches and say, can you please look at your schedules and make sure there's no overlap? And then what we'll do is make adjustments to the rec schedules first, because most of those matches, especially when there's no referees, they're younger ages, and all of those matches are in our facility, and it's so much easier for us to say, okay, move this from 1 to 4, so coach can go to his kids' game at 12, and then not have to rush back or rush over to this field and not make it to their other kids' game. So yes, if you coach, we try to do everything we can to make sure you can attend all of your kids' games, either as a spectator or a coach. Yep. Good question. Yes? Well, I'm glad you asked. They are not. So these here are our coaching shirts. So again, just another thing to make sure our coaches feel good. You look good, you feel good, right? So if you coach at Noblesville United, you get to choose either a black on white or a gray on white coaching shirt. They're dry fit, easy breathable, and they look good. So these are our coaching shirts. Camille, do you have your soccer back here? Do you have any of your kids with you? Eric, would you do me a favor? Just feel free to exit out of the Q&A, and one of the tabs I have open is our website, and then you can go to the page. So he's going to pull up the overview of the soccer kits here. So if you guys aren't aware, last season we signed a partnership with soccer.com, and we get all of our soccer kits now through them. You can order directly on their website. They ship them straight to their house. The only required pieces of uniform, regardless of the age group, and Eric will show you them here, are the black home kits and the gray away kits. Now you'll see, thank you, sir. You're good. So I'll wait for it to populate. So those top 2 there, so this is our home kit. That's required. This is our gray away. That's required. You'll also see we have an offering for shorts and socks. And Eric, can you do me a favor and scroll down a little more so they can see the goalie kits, just so that they know they don't have to. And then these, And then these 2 here are optional goalie kits. So really, if your kid's a goaltender and they know that's what they really want to be, not that they should be specializing at that position until they're at least U12 anyway. If they want to be a goalkeeper, they can purchase those kits, but they're not required. They're optional, because if your kid just wants to have the black or gray but still play goalie, we'll have pennies for them to wear, because goalies have to have a different color than what's on the field to differentiate themselves. So the black and the gray are what's required. Everything else is optional. Yeah. Oh yeah, and so if you go to soccer.com where you order your kids' kits, we also have a team shop, which has all kinds of Noblesville United swag. This hoodie I'm wearing, most of the stuff the gentlemen up here are wearing, raincoats, hats, backpacks. There's all kinds of stuff that will be available for you to purchase your kids if you so choose. Good questions. Yes, ma'am. Great question. So it's not required, but highly recommended. Okay, the soccer club does have what we call our coach's closet. All of our coaches have access to a closet full of equipment. Every coach for every age group will have a bag designated. These are for this age group, these are for that age group. So if your son or daughter is in U6 or U8, you want to buy a size 3 soccer ball. If your son or daughter is in U10 or 12, you want to buy a size 4 soccer ball. If they're U14 or higher, they have to have a size 5 soccer ball, and that's as big as they get, and that's the soccer ball they play with for the duration of their soccer careers. So 3s, 4s, and 5s. And again, they're not required, but highly recommended. And most kids love having, you know. So, with that said, I want to point something out real quick. So, starting this year, we've invested in kickballs or match balls for all the clubs, because typically what will happen is, you know, a referee will say, hey, we need a match ball coach. And then all 10 kids on the team are fighting over whose ball we're going to use for the match ball. And then it may or may not be pumped up, or it may not be of quality. And it's just like, we're going to nix that. So we invested in, if you've never heard, Select is a really high quality brand soccer ball. So every soccer field, in between each field will be a bin, just like that our referees will all use, that will have access to match soccer balls. So this ball here, the Select 10, this will be the ball, the number 10, this will be the ball that will be used on all full-side fields. And then all of the younger kids will use the Select 22 for their matches. And, you know, it just made sense. It's one of those things that make the club kind of special. Like, we've got our own match balls, official match balls. So, great question. Definitely have it for practices, if you can, but not 100% required, because we have all that equipment for coaches if they need it for each of their practices. Yeah. One other thing I should point out is you may or may not have noticed, but so the club last year invested in new corner flags. So we went ahead and had these custom corner flags made. They have our new logo on them. And while they look really cool, the best thing about them is the feature and the design. So you may not be able to see, but at the bottom, there's this giant spring. So these will get planted into the ground, and because soccer can be a physical sport, plays into the corner, and let's say you get tackled into a flag, these flags have these springs at the bottom, so they have a lot of give, so your kid's not just falling into a corner flag and potentially, you know, having it not really want to have any give to it. So these will be all over the soccer club at each of the fields. Again, one of those nice little new touches that if you go to a lot of other facilities, which Academy families will, you'll see that we're doing everything we can to make our club feel really special, look special, so that when you guys pull in or when kids walk out or when teams from other clubs come to our facility, you kind of hear that, wow, this is really nice. I really like it here. And that's how we want it to be. So, any other questions? Yes?
Back to the jerseys.
Yeah.
Last season was our first, or fall was the first time we played, so we ordered those.
Yeah.
But we might need a bigger size now. What's the turnaround time? Is there a deadline as to when we need to order them to have them in time for the first game?
Good question. So the question was, if we need a new jersey, how much lead time should I make sure? I would say at least 2 weeks. And that's if you're not, how do I say, peak season. So right before the spring and right before the fall each year, every soccer club that uses soccer.com, that's when they're sending all their orders. So if you think by the fall, I would order it as soon as you can, late spring or even early summer. Because last year we had 1,000 kids ordering new jerseys, plus Indy Premier was ordering, everybody was ordering new jerseys, and it was taking some families like 6 to 7 weeks to get their stuff.
It's 4 weeks right now. It's 4 weeks right now.
Is it 4 weeks right now? Okay, so there's your answer. Right now, it's at 4 weeks. Now, I'll say this. We learned from last year. This winter, I placed an order for maybe 8 kits, maybe 10 or 12 kits. So we have new kits on hand that we can sell out of the concession.
Are we doing the swap yet?
It's not available yet. Yeah, it's not available yet. Yep. Yeah. No, it's a big thing, you know, with as many kids as we have in the program now. And, you know, they get to that, depending on if it's a boy or girl, they get to that like 10, 12-year-old. The girls just shoot up super quick. And then, you know, 13, 14, all of a sudden the boys start to grow. And everybody's like, man, I don't want to have to buy a brand new kid. You know, so it's nice to have, we will eventually have that option. Yeah. I didn't hear. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. So Ryan asked, so you may or may not have heard that Indy 11, their new corporate sponsor, actually just switched from Honda to Ford. So their new kits will have the Ford logo on the front. I love the Honda logo, personally. All that being said, if you order a new kit and it has the Ford logo on the front, it's fine. Some of the kids for the first couple of seasons when they have, because we're not requiring families to buy new kits just because of the corporate logo change. Indy 11's aware, they're on board, they're not gonna say your families all have to buy new stuff. Just wear what you have until it doesn't fit anymore. And if it gets to the point you need to order new kits and they come with Ford on them, that's fine. Yep. I'm gonna try to hold on to my Honda as long as I can. I'm partial though. Yes?
Where's your facility at? You're all the practices there.
Great question. So the question is, where is our facility? So we are located at 8501 East 191st Street, 96th Street, and all of our practices are there. So we have 20 fields, and we have a big field map when you first pull into the parking lot right next to the concession stand. So when you see your kids' team snap schedule, thank you. When you see your kids' team snap schedule, it'll tell you what field all their practice is on. So you can look at that field map online. We have the facility map online, or when you pull in, there's a giant physical map. So you know, oh, field 8 is over there, that's where all their practices are. And I will say, all of their practices, once they're assigned a field, will all be at that same field. Match locations could change. But if you're a rec player, all of your practices and games are at our facility. If you're an academy player, all of your practices will be at our facility, but only half of your games will be at our facility. Our academy players travel to different locations in Fishers, Cordsville, if you happen to play at one of their fields out there. But usually the farthest our academy families go is like 30 minutes drive. Yes, great questions. Yes? No, I'm glad you, yes. No, correct. Yeah, the ones that we offer do not, because honestly, there's so many different types on there. And my son, he has like a texture thing. So we tried the hard ones that are really hard, he hated them. And now he's got these new G-form soft gel foams that are like this thick, and they kind of wrap around the front of his shin, and he can slide them in and out super easy. They're costly. They're like $40, but it's a good investment if your kids have that texture issue and don't want to mess with the super hard shin guards. But you can buy, and we will have, and you'll see announcements on our social media pages about this, and I'll include it in one of our newsletters. Which, by the way, did everybody get a copy? I sent via email a newsletter from us. We send out monthly newsletters. We call them the weekly walkthrough, even though it's really a monthly walkthrough. It just sounded better. But it always has pertinent information to what's going on in the very near future. So in just a couple of weeks, our Dick's Sporting Goods Day will be happening. So anybody that still needs equipment, you will get a coupon as a part of that Dick's Day for Noblesville United. It's like a 25% off coupon for whatever soccer product you buy. But I'll say this. If you wait too long, because it's we're going into the height of soccer season, the inventory in store will be very low. So then you're looking at possibly having to order online and wait for shipment. So I would highly recommend if you don't have all of your stuff yet, to get it. Now I will say this too, we've started to compile here's a whole bunch of extra equipment just in case a kid shows up without it at the club. So in the coach's closet, we have a whole bin of shin guards for kids that may just show, because you have to have them. Shin guards are absolutely mandatory to play because of the safety issues. Yeah, great question. They do sell socks that have them built in them. My kid prefers the ones that just slide in and out, so. Good question. Anything else? That's some really good questions. I appreciate you guys. I like it when groups are engaged. Okay, if we don't have any more questions, let's go ahead and do a raffle. This is Nick's favorite part. Yes? Yeah, so sis, can you bring up those tickets? Thanks, because of you. Good. So, thank you. So, we're going to do, let's do 3. We'll do 3 giveaways. 3 registration refunds. Okay? So, 1 child. If we pull your number, we'll reimburse you the cost of your child's registration. Say? Huh? Go ahead. I'll call it out. Read it.
I got it.
920497.
Yes.
Is that you? Good.
This feels like this was set up.
So, could I ask you write your information on here so I can go when we did registration? That one. Okay, let's do another one. Says.
Okay. I don't need the mic. 920477.
Okay. When she's done, can you write your information on that piece of paper with the clipboard? Thank you. All right, we'll do one more.
Wait. 920516.
Very good. So same thing. There's a clipboard with information. After she passes it to her, can you get it and write your information down on that? That way we can go in the system and take care of it. So I don't think I have anything else presented. Ready to go. Did any of you gentlemen have anything you wanted to say?
No, hand that over.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Well, with that being said, that is everything we have for you guys today. I really appreciate you guys again taking your time to come out, learn a bit about the club, ask some really good questions. If there's anything else you need, come on up now and we can have a one-on-one conversation with myself or anybody else. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to us via email. All of our information is available on our website. So thank you guys.